Okay, so let's start. So, hi, my name is Eva Gaczorek and I'm a wood expert specialist. In today's webinar, I will focus on a quickly and optimally setting up a furniture rendering environment. So, first, a few words about our company. WOODEXPERT is our proprietary solution. We are a certified SOLIDWORKS distributor. WoodExpert is fully integrated with SolidWorks. This is important because of the extensive design and manufacturing capabilities in the furniture industry. We can't make any furniture to size. WoodExpert is a professional 3D CAD application with fine main module, design module, drawing generator, BAM generator, CAM module, and nesting. This gives the user a single working environment. So here is today's agenda for our meeting. We will go through all the settings in order to get the most blissful rendering effect with minimal time and work. You will also see how minimal changes make a big difference. You can ask questions during the chat. I will answer them at the end. Okay, so let's start. WoodExpert model presentation. This is how the finished model made in WoodExpert looks like. It is cabinet with glass doors. Its height 130 centimeters high. This is important to render this proportion in the rendering so that the client properly interprets the character of the furniture. So opening project in Visual is easy. We don't need to change the file extension to adapt into another environment, which is so not obvious. This is not so obvious in the other programs. After the opening file, we have the option to choose the distribution of elements in the environment. This is important when giving material to the element. This is also important to select snap to floor so that the model is bound to the floor and doesn't levitate in the workspace. After accepted, the model is inserted into environment. So I will now discuss the interface. The top palette shows how the model is displayed from preview to exact view. The more advanced the preview, the longer it takes to recalculate the model. Uh, in the case of the furniture, it does not take long. When working with a large assembly, it's better to work in uh, preview mode most of the time. Further functions in this panel are model rotation, part rotation, and view changes. When I'm working, I use the functionality of the mouse and scroll rotation. Most often during the work, we use the model preview changes and possibly change the location of the workspace. In the section on the right, we have tabs with advanced settings. The first one is about the assembly and the possibility to hide individual parts. As you can see, the whole structure is the same as in SolidWorks. This is very important. The next tab is the scene settings. The tab with the camera icon is view settings, and the last tab contains libraries, including materials for our model. So let's move on to the material settings. The full palette of materials can be applied to the model by drag and drop. As you can see, there are materials of all categories from metals, to glass, to natural textures, to wood. So I'm applying the material to the sides of the cabinets. Depending on how I mark the distribution of materials at the beginning, this is how they will be applied to the model. I freely change the folders and choose other materials. I choose the glass and its type. I choose the white material to shelves in model. And back material. We can add our own textures to the library. I move on to the setting of material. I set texture mapping to box. This distributes the wood material in an optimal way in the model. Then I set the setting parameter. IOR is gloss, rawness, texture sharpness. The best ratio is a higher rawness to gloss parameter. I can also rotate the material freely. It is also possible to change the light parameter of the material, and what is important, it's the better to change the light parameter in the material than the whole scene. Thanks to the accurate preview, I adjust this precisely. So I move on the top panel. I rotate the material 19 degrees and adjust the texture by copying the settings from the previous plate. And rawness. I adjust the material on the white plates in the same way. The rawness parameters. For the glass, I adjust the transparency and reflection. The larger the IOR parameter, the darker the glass. So in the close-up, you can see how the wood texture is distributed in optimal and natural way on the model. So scene and lighting settings. I use the finish scene and I do not change the background. I adjust the lighting of the model, and I advise against doing in on extreme settings. It is better to change the brightness of the material so that the effect is natural. And important parameter is the angle of rotation of light, so as not to overexpose the materials and show their structure. You can see the change in the view. Reflecting the floor as depth adds depth to the whole rendering. And be careful with the shadow parameter on the floor so that it's not so that is doesn't make a black spot in the rendering. So I improve the rotation of the lighting and the transparency of the glass. Hmm. I change the IOR parameter. Okay, so I move on to the setting the model view. I can change the size of the view and the perspective. The perspective will give clarity and is more pleasing to the customer's eye. So I can rotate the module to the best angle. So you can see the difference from the beginning of the work until the setup is complete. So we're moving to rendering module. In the Tools tab, select Render option. Use present templates to save time. You can use the default template, but there is a risk of confusion. You can choose the location of the render, format, layers, size, type of units, type of render, and number of iterations. The number of conversions of a given render, the more iterations, the better the render. In default profile is render. It's the settings iteration is 100. So this is the better is high quality template for this. I choose a high quality template. This is, in my opinion, the best choice for rendering furniture. I can still change the units. I start the rendering. Visualize informs me about the progress of the work. And render of this quality was created in 6 minutes. This is a report from Visualize. And here is the finished render. in 6 minutes, and some example of other models renders in Visualize. The bigger projects. Okay, it's time to Q&A. You can ask questions. Mhm. So no questions. Thank you. The event will be recorded and shared for you. Feel free to visit our social media and test WoodExpert demo. Thank you.